Welcome. So today I'm going to be showing you how to do a bobble stitch. And the first step is to make a slip knot. I'm using weight for acrylic yarn and a 6mm hook. Then you're going to chain an even number. I did 20, but you can do any even number for this. Then you're going to single crochet stitch into the second stitch from your hook. And you're going to continue with single crochet stitches all the way across this row. And then this is the final single crochet stitch for this row, just to show what it looks like at the very end. Then you're going to flip your project over and chain one. And you'll do a single crochet stitch into that same stitch that you did the chain on. From here, we're going to yarn over, put the hook into the next stitch, grab that yarn, and then pull through two. And then do the same thing, yarn over, through that same stitch, pull through, and then through two. And in total, you'll do this 4 times. So then that's the third. And then this is the fourth, struggling there a bit. And then once you've done 4, you'll have 5 loops on your hook. So if you ever lose track, just see how many you have on your hook. And once you have 5, you're going to yarn over again and pull through all 5. And if you have issues with that, I was just kind of yanking up a bit so that I had a bit more space to pull the yarn through. And then right after that, your first bobble, you're going to do another single crochet stitch. And then you essentially repeat this process over and over. So it's a single stitch, bobble, single stitch, bobble, all the way across. So then just demonstrating the same thing again with that second bobble. And these are essentially just incomplete double stitches done 4 times. And then when you pull through all 5 at the end, you're making that stitch at the top so that all 4 of those are just one stitch, one gigantic stitch, essentially. And then as you keep making bobbles, it'll look essentially like this until you get to the end of that row. And once you do get to the end, you'll have 2 remaining stitches, and you're going to do single crochet in both of those. And those single stitches will be after your final bobble. And this is just showing that second single stitch here. And then you're going to turn your project around and chain one. And for this row, you're just essentially going to do single stitches all the way across. And this is just the top row above your bobbles. And as you can see here, all four of those incomplete double crochet stitches, that bobble is just that one single stitch, just a giant stitch. So you're just going to do one single crochet stitch in each of those bobbles, and then obviously one single crochet stitch above each single crochet stitch below it. And after you're done with the single crochet stitch row, you can see it looks pretty uniform, pretty even on both sides, which is always satisfying, at least for me. And then from there, you're going to chain one and do a single crochet stitch into that same base stitch, just like with the first bobble row. And then you're going to do four of those incomplete double crochet stitches to make your first bobble on this row. And the process is exactly the same as the first row of bobbles, but I just wanted to show it here just in case, can never have too many examples, at least for me. So I thought it might be helpful to show this again. And then you've got that first bobble, and it should be directly above the bobble below it. I did it incorrectly the first time, and it kind of staggered it. So ideally, it should be right above it like that. But if it isn't, usually you just added an extra single stitch, such as what I did. So just go back and count again. I know the endless counting can be frustrating, but it's always nice when it looks good in the end. And then, excuse my yapping, but this is just the same process again for that second bobble. Just, it's always nice to have multiple examples and to see how to go from one to the other, because that always confuses me when I'm looking at tutorials. I'm like, okay, but how do I do this? And I have the attention span of like a small mouse, so it can be difficult. Then once you get to the end of this second row of bobbles, you're going to do those two single stitches, and this is the second single stitch. I always forget to record the first, but there will be two single stitches after the last bobble that you do. And then you'll chain one and do another row of those single stitches just all the way across. And you essentially just repeat this process, alternating between the single crochet rows and the bobble and single crochet rows until you reach the end of your project. And just to make it look uniform, make sure that you always end on a single crochet row so that they have that top to each bobble row like you have at the very bottom.